Hi everybody, this is Lindsay from windingroadcrochet.com and I am so excited you are here with me for part 2 of our Simply Fall baby dress crochet along. Today we are going to be doing the bodice of the baby dress. It's only 9 to 10 rows, doesn't take very long. Then when you move on to part 3, you will be doing the skirt, the plaid skirt of the baby dress, and then part 4 you'll do this ruffle and the waistband. So right now we're just going to focus on the bodice here. And I will go ahead and show you how that is made. When creating our bodice, we are just making a big square. You're going to be increasing 4 different times around the edge to make each corner and doing increases only into those corners. We will be marking those corners with stitch markers to make this much easier. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to need to do is make a slip knot. Now I am making a size 3 to 6 months here. My daughter is 9 months old, but she does wear a 3 to 6 month size dress. She's a little petite. If you're looking for the pattern or the sizing information, you're going to find links to that in the description box below, so you can check that out there. Now the first thing we're going to do is have to chain 60. I am using a size H hook here, but you are going to want to use the size hook that found the right gauge. And if you don't know how to figure out your gauge, again, there's going to be a video link in the description box below for that. I'm also using the Holly Berry and the Red Heart with Love yarn. That's part of the color combination I chose. Now there's lots of different colors you can pick from, and again, in the post, the original post for part 1, they have lots of color combinations for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and chain 60 chain to get started for the 3 to 6 month size dress. So now that you have all your chains completed, we are going to work into the 3rd chain from the hook, and I actually like to work into the back bumps. It takes a little bit longer, but I think it leaves a much nicer finish. It's just a little hard getting into them and it takes a little effort, but you can just crochet into the chain. Don't worry about it if you're new. Don't make it hard on yourself, but just out of habit, I am going to work into the back bumps of every single chain. And then I am half double crocheting into the 3rd chain from the hook, as well as the next 6 chain. So there's going to be 7 half double crochet total, and then I will show you how we're going to work one of the corners. And I know it takes a little bit longer working into these back bumps, but I really do feel like it's worth it. Here you can see how working into those back loops leaves me a really nice clean looking, which is actually going to be the top side of the collar. So in our next chain, after we've worked that first section, we are going to do a half double crochet. We are going to chain 1 to give us a space, and then we're going to half double crochet into that exact same chain. So you have half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all into one chain, and that actually causes us to have a corner. So we're making a square here. Now you'll just work 1 half double crochet into the next 14 chains, or however many is the proper stitches for the size you're making. But basically we're going to make another straight section. I'm doing 14 half double crochet here, and then we'll make another corner, and we're going to keep repeating that a total of 3 times. So that we'll have 4 sections that are 14 half double crochets with corners in between them, and then your first section will be 7 half double crochet, and the very last section, which is going to meet with that first section in the very back of the dress, will be another 7 half double crochet, creating this really nice corner. So now I have 14 half double crochet worked into there, and I'm going to go ahead and work my next corner right here. Do the exact same thing we did the last corner. Work a half double crochet, chain one to make a chain space, work another half double crochet, all done in that one chain there to give us a corner. And then we're going to go ahead and do another 14 half double crochet, another corner, another 14 half double crochet, another corner, and I'll get back to you after we finish that fourth corner. So I just finished up our fourth corner here, and I'm going to go ahead and do 7 half double crochet in those last 7 chain. So this is the very center of the back of our dress. And that's why it's cut in half, so that seam is right in the center. So again, working into these back bumps, and they do take a little bit longer, but next row will be much quicker because we won't be working into those. Just finish up this very last stitch, and you can see the last part of our square is complete. The last thing we're going to need to do is slip stitch to the very first stitch of this row. That's going to make our square complete. We're going to pull that through here. Now you do have a little opening at the beginning, but that is completely okay. We're going to use this end here to sew this shut whenever we finish up. We can sew that shut, but doing it this way is a little easier because you don't have to worry about your chain twisting. If we had chained and then slip stitched it at the very beginning, sometimes your chain will get twisted. So this gives us a nice clean square without really having to worry about that. So let's go ahead and take a second and take a look at what we're going to do for row number 2. So if you take a quick look at this graph, the black section is our row number 1 in our chain. And you can see how we made 4 corners, and just so you know, this isn't the exact stitch count, it's a smaller version, but you can see where we made the 4 corners, and we are going to mark those 4 corners with stitch markers, because the next row you really don't have to count if you don't want to, because you're going to put 1 half double crochet in every half double crochet, and then in your chain space you're going to do your half double crochet, chain, half double crochet. If you do that all the way around for this row and the next row, you're going to be just fine. Alright, so you can see that I did go ahead and add stitch markers because that makes everything easier. I am going to chain 2, turn my work, and then I'm going to put a half double crochet into every half double crochet along the edge. Work 1 half double crochet into every half double crochet until I reach my stitch marker, because that stitch marker is marking that chain space where I'm going to be making my corners. And of course on the patterns you have the exact stitch counts, and you can definitely use them, but you could just go across the edge and then do your corners in that chain space, and you should be just fine as long as you're not missing a stitch right at the beginning or adding a stitch at the end. Typically those areas are where it gets a little tricky, but besides that you just get to the stitch mark, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into the same spot where that stitch marker is. Pull the stitch marker out of my way, and then I'm going to start half double crocheting 1 half double crochet into every stitch along this side, and then I will do another corner in that next stitch marker. So I've reached my second stitch marker, and once again I'm going to make a corner by doing a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet into that corner, and then I'll go ahead and work in 1 half double crochet in every stitch all the way around. I'll continue this all the way to the end, and then I'll get back to you when I'm at that last leg of our square. Okay, so I have finished my last corner, and I'm just going to do this last section before I reach the beginning of this row. And then just for this row, since you don't have that top part sewn in yet, you do want to be careful about getting this twisted. Make sure you are slip stitching to the second row and not the first row. So go ahead and make our slip stitch, and we'll move on to round 3. Alright, so you can see that I have moved my stitch markers up to make this row easier. I'm not going to show you me working this entire row, but it works exactly the same as the last row. You are going to half double crochet along every 1 half double crochet into every half double crochet stitch. Where your stitch markers are, you are going to work a corner right there, and you're going to do that all the way around and slip stitch to the first stitch, and then I will show you how we do row number 4. That's the first row that's going to be a little bit different. Alright, so I am slip stitching to the very first stitch in row 3, and I'm going to go ahead and move these stitch markers one more time because we're going to need to know where those chain spaces are for the row 4. So for row 4, we are going to half double crochet along the top first section. We are going to chain and create a chain. It's going to skip this entire side section here. We're going to work into this chain space. That's why we're still marking those chain spaces. We're going to work across the front of the dress, work into that chain space, chain again so that we can skip and get into the next chain space. So we'll have a chain here, and then we'll work along the back section of this dress. And the reason we're chaining is we're actually creating the armholes here. So when we do that, we're going to end up folding this top part in half, and then we'll just crochet in around, constantly creating the straight part, the waist of the dress. So it gets really easy from here. This is the only row that kind of feels a little tricky and some beginners have a hard time with. So let's go ahead and move our stitch markers and give this a try. So you can see that I have moved my stitch markers, and I'm going to go ahead and put my hook back in here. I'm going to chain up 2 because we're still working with a half double crochet. I'm going to half double crochet 1 half double crochet into each stitch across the top. So now I am going to half double crochet into that chain space. And now I will go ahead and chain 10. And then we're going to go ahead and skip all the spaces along that side and work our next half double crochet into the next chain space where our stitch marker is. That's really why I ask everybody to use stitch markers on this, because it does make it easier. Now we're just going to half double crochet through the front of this dress until we reach the next stitch marker. And you can see here how we've created a nice little armhole. It's upside down, but it's an armhole. So now we're going to put a half double crochet into each stitch on the front of this piece. it's about 20 stitches for this one, so it'll take just a second. And we just want to move over until we get to this next stitch marker. And in this stitch marker, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to place one half double crochet into the stitch marker, into that chain space where that stitch marker is. We're going to chain 10, and then we're going to skip this entire side of stitches and work a half double crochet into the chain space where the next stitch marker is. So right in here we'll put a half double crochet, and then just work the rest of the stitches along the back of the dress, and then slip stitch to the first half double crochet of this row, and we'll be ready for our next row. So we'll go ahead and slip stitch and finish this row. And then we are going to move right into row 5. So we're going to chain up 2, turn, we're going to half double crochet into each stitch, we're going to work one half double crochet into each of the chain, work half double crochet into the stitches on the front, into the other chain, and then into the back. So it's just half double crochet into every chain and stitch all the way around. Very easy to do. I think I confused myself and I don't know which way I turned. Alright, so we're going to take this out and try this again. Yarn over, chain 2, turn, there we go. And then we're going to work one half double crochet into each stitch and chain all the way around. And I'll go ahead and do this and meet you right back whenever we get to the end of this row. So I'm just slip stitching at the end of row 5. Just want to show you what this is looking like so far. Now that we have that chain where we made our armholes and we've worked into it, we actually have what looks like a little bit more like a bodice. So the next few rows, all we are going to be doing is chaining up 2 and then placing one half double crochet into each stitch all the way around. So that is going to be for row 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then I believe the largest size, the 12 to 18 month size, I did go ahead and add a 10th row just to make that a little bit longer. But that's all you're going to be doing from here on out is half double crocheting in each stitch all the way around, slip stitch at the end of the row, chain up and work your next row. And I will go ahead and show you what all of this looks like when you are done with row 9 or 10, depending on the size that you are working. Alright, here I am at the end of row 9. I'm just going to slip stitch to finish off the row. And there you have it. There is your bodice. So you go ahead and use this top tail to sew together the top, that little section. You're going to go ahead and keep your yarn where it is. Do not fasten off yet because we will use that for the skirt. But go ahead and catch the third part of this cowl. We are going to be doing the plaid skirt. And that's it. Part 2 is all done. There you go. Thank you all for joining me for the Simply Fall Baby Dress Crochet Along. If you're going to make this dress, make sure you jump over to our Facebook group, Our Crochet Journey at Facebook. You can also follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, or Facebook if you like any of my patterns and you want to see what else I'm coming up with. As well as if you like the video, make sure you subscribe and press the like button. That really tells me that I'm doing a good job and that you'd like to see more from me. Until next time.